And we're on.
And we're live.
Here it is, Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Thanks for joining in. This is your host, Mike Hatcher, Power Hour Podcast here at Tennessee USA Wrestling, and my co-host, Kenya Sloan. What's happening?
Nothing crazy.
How we doing?
Good weekend.
Been good?
I've been good.
How's things in Knoxville?
Good. Everything's been good in Knoxville. Wrestling has been good. I mean, I'm loving having my team and getting to coach them on the weekends. It's it's really fun to like do wrestling but not get beat up. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. No, I trust me. I don't wrestle anymore. I don't remember the last time I wrestled.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So fun.
I take that back. During for camp, when we had Braden Palmer in a couple of weeks. Oh, was it Black Friday camp? Black Friday camp. I rolled around a little bit with a couple. I think one was probably maybe a second, third grader. The other one might have been a fourth grader. So that's about what I do now. Yeah. I think they weighed about 70 pounds. So they weighed about almost as much as me combined. So yeah, that's about right.
Hopefully they didn't beat you up too bad.
Yeah. You know what? You start getting in the, you're up in the 50s and that type of stuff. And like I said, I mean, it's not a good combination. I was never that good in wrestling. So
oh my gosh.
So, to be old and not very good in the first place, that's not a good combination. So these guys that are still wrestling at my age right now against like Division I college athletes, they were actually good back then. So trust me, it does not get any easier, Kenya. So, but yeah, everyone, we're coming at you here on Tuesday, just like normal show, and about try to get all the happenings in Tennessee wrestling, but there's a lot going on. Yeah. It's really tough. But I think we got some good stuff though. We got good stuff. Yeah. So but your transition, not to skip around here and there and everything, but transition for to Knoxville's going well.
Yeah, it's been really good. It's been nice to be at home. Knoxville's not a small town, but
yeah.
I mean, I lived a good bit of my life here, and it's just cool to be around people that I know and the people that know me, and then people in the wrestling room who still think I'm really cool because I'm from here, I guess. So, but it's fun.
Yeah, it's always good. It's always good to hear you're cool.
Yeah.
So it's all right. It's
good. Yeah. How's your weekend?
You know what? I had a very interesting. Had a very interesting last 5 days, I guess. I I don't know if I pride myself or I'm just a luxury time in my life right now. Obviously, 51, single, no kids. I live a little bit different lifestyle than most 51-year-olds out there. So I actually had to get a dental implant. And obviously a lot of my friends know that I went, to do this procedure, but I went to my dentist here in Franklin, and she told me how much it was going to cost. And I said, that's absolutely ridiculous. I refuse to pay that. And I would have 100% paid it. I mean, but at the same time, it's just like, okay, I started doing the math. I know it's cheaper, in other countries and stuff like that. So I narrowed it down. I wanted to go to Europe. I was going to do the dental tourism route.
Yeah. So but it's expensive to get to Europe.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just wanted it. Well, but it's it's a 2-step procedure. So if I would have went and like, say, Turkey and Hungary, they have like really good dental out there. I mean, like they're world renowned for dental, but that would have been 2 trips out all the way out to Eastern Bloc Europe. So, I mean, and I've never been to those places before. And as much as 2 trips to Turkey would be amazing. And I mean, starting to add that up. I'm like, okay, I don't think I'm saving any money here. So then I narrowed it down because I've been to Colombia a lot. I've been to Mexico a lot. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to one of those 2 places. And I chose Cancun for a couple of different reasons, because it's super easy. I flew out of Nashville. I left Thursday, and I think round trip, my ticket was like $150. Yeah. I mean, it's like going to Miami. It's like going to Miami. It's really simple. So I got a good friend of mine down there. He's on his 3rd restaurant right now, but he hooked me up with his dentist. He's the best dentist in Cancun. And so I flew down there. I stayed at had a great beach trip, and went in for a dental implant on Monday. I was literally in and out of his office in an hour. It was probably the most. It was the easiest, and just it was probably the best dental visit I've ever had. No pain at all. I've got a titanium screw in my mouth, and now I have to go back.
Oh, bummer!
And hang out on the beach like in April, May, sometime like that. So I have to go back and get the crown put on. So and then like I said, if I plan it well enough ahead of time, obviously, the flight's super cheap, and it's I mean, the way the gas prices are now, it's almost cheaper for me to fly to Cancun than drive to.
Oh my God.
Not really, but I kind of justify it like that. But yeah, so I went and hung out on the beach for Yeah, pretty much 5 days. 5 nights. Yeah, 5 nights. Yeah, 5 nights, and got a dental implant. Came back. Just got back today. Got a little sauna in, and now here we are. Podcast Tuesday. Why not? Hey, why not? You know,
vacations in between, but he'll be back for podcast Tuesday.
Yeah. So yeah, well, let's get into these because we had a lot going on. We said you and I wouldn't chop it up that much. You know, results, I think we kind of roll through those really quick. I know on the guy's side, there's a lot going on, but I just jotted down some notes and pretty quick. But yeah, what happened on the girls' side here? What's going on?
Yeah, from the girls' side, there's really one big tournament that I just want to highlight. I know there were a few other things. I don't know if all of them, like you said, it's just kind of hard to keep up at this point. But they had a really good tournament at Stone Memorial on Friday. The I-40 Clash, I think is what they called it. They have cool, fancy names. And so that was super cool to go to. I mean, I went to that tournament, I think probably every year that I was in high school, and they kept.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, Ghost of Memorial, they've been supporting Ghost Wrestling for a long time, but it was like such a small event for the girls' side that they had us like off to the side in this little auxiliary gym where they could fit 2 mats and we'd be there forever. And so it was cool to go. And then over in their big nice gym would be like the boys tournament, but it was cool. So there's just that tournament's been growing, and there's been enough females in all the brackets that they, went ahead and made it like a full blown tournament Friday night. So went to that, took my Catholic girls, and it was really fun to coach. They did good. A lot of the girls there did good. I wish I would have written down how many teams were there. But there was a pretty good showing. 2 of my girls did awesome and took first place.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Delilah Queen, Becca Dale, they kicked butt.
That's it. There. Delilah, I'm sure it's crazy. She's not the podcast. She usually gives me a shout out.
I know.
She's usually commenting right now.
she did tell me she was going to join this evening. I told her yeah. So that was a really good tournament. And then Saturday at Siegel, they had the Ramsey. Is it what they call it? The Ramsey Rumble? Give me a second.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the Ramsey Rumble. And that was huge. Wow. I was trying to find the exact amount of girls that went, but I mean, there was, I would say, probably close to 30 teams represented that had girls on it. So that's just like an astronomical showing for girls in the state. But we'll just go over like the top few schools. Our guest that we're going to have on the female side, she was at this tournament. Maybe she can give us some like input on what it was like being there. But we had Northwest won the tournament. They took first with 129 points. Clarksville took second with 127. Montgomery Central had 125. And fourth was West Creek with 108. And then pretty close behind them was Riverdale with 103.
Okay.
So those were just a few of the teams that did really, really good. But like I said, I think I don't know the exact number, but there were over 30 teams that had girls there, and that's pretty awesome. So those are 2 of the biggest things that we had going on the girls' side. And I think, well, you have to tell me, is our guest already close or hanging out?
Yeah, she's here. You want to bring her on?
Yeah, let's go ahead and bring on our guest who was at this tournament on Saturday at Siegel. Let's see.
I'm pumped to hear from this girl.
Hello, Miss Madison Newbern.
Madison Newbern. It's good.
You know Madison?
I think I've done a clinic with you before.
Yeah. What's that?
I've done a clinic with you before.
Yep. Yeah, you were. You were at the. I want to say, was it Braden Palmer's camp or no, it's Bedard's. Jeff Bedard's.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yep. Listen, I know her. I got this. When you said you want to have her on, I was like, absolutely.
I
didn't know your story, Madison.
Right. I know.
I'm sure that's not something you just like announce to the world.
You're like, I'm here. By the way.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna step out here because I don't want to reveal too much. Kenya's gonna introduce you, but I was really, really pumped up about this interview.
Yeah, I'm sure our guests are so lost right now because they have no idea.
Yeah, she's like, everybody's like, what? Okay, what are you guys talking about? Wait, we missing something? I missed a memo. Yeah. So let them in on it, Kenya.
Yes. So first we've got Madison Newbern here with us. She won region last year. She took 5th at the state tournament. She wrestles at Riverdale High, and she's competing today. And we are so lucky to have her step away for a moment to be able to speak to us. Yesterday at Siegel, you took 2nd place, which is huge accomplishment with as big as some of those brackets were. So congrats to you on all of your awesome things, but more than just her accomplishments, Madison has like a very unique story that I do not feel like I should tell. I would love you to share it with us. But something that's just great about wrestling is we can have people from like all sorts of different life experiences, and wrestling really teaches you how to like overcome obstacles. And we have obstacles in real life too. And I feel like those things have been kind of connected in your world. So tell us a little bit about like maybe how you got into wrestling, your journey in the sport, and then specifically like what your journey has looked like the past few years.
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up doing MMA and karate, all of that. I was always kind of in the, that kind of game. I wasn't really a ballerina from day one.
Yeah.
I was in dance class for a very short amount of time. But I really loved watching UFC with my dad growing up. It was like what got me into it. And for me, I didn't realize there was any disconnect between being a female and enjoying wrestling around and fighting and things like that. And so for me, it was being a kid, I had no clue. And my whole family is into fighting. I have cousins and uncles who do jujitsu, some who have gone to the Junior Olympics for boxing. And so we all kind of do our own thing. And I grew up doing karate. I got my black belt in 2019. I was starting to teach classes. And then I was like, oh, like I want to be like Ronda Rousey. Like I want to like I want to get some ground game.
Of course.
And I was like, how can I do that? But it's like different. And then my cousin who does jujitsu, she started wrestling at Smyrna High School. And I was like, oh, sick, I'll do that. And so I went to Rock Springs Middle School and we didn't have a wrestling team. So I contacted the middle school of the high school I'd be attending the next year. And they said, no, because you're a girl. And so I got rejected by them. And I went over to Blackman Wrestling Club my 8th grade year and started from there. I was the only girl on the team. I only wrestled boys up until my regions matches. So it was really different stepping out there. And I'm rather tall. So right now I'm 5'10". At the time I was like 5'8.5", 5'9" in like middle school.
In middle school, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I grew at 8 inches in a year. So it was a big change. And something interesting for 8th grade year was like I'd grown 8 inches in a year. Like I didn't know what to do with my body or how to like do things. Like I had all this new length that I wasn't used to. It was really interesting. But going from there, and then I was like, this is my next thing I have to do. So I stepped aside from doing karate and to focus on wrestling full time because I was like, oh, I like that there's not girls out here because I'll be the one to like make them be more. Like I'm going to get more people out here, and I want to be a part of something. Yeah, I want to be part of something like that. And Andy Jones from Blackman, that's someone I absolutely look up to because she's been doing that for way longer than I have, and she was always really in my corner, and still is to this day. We still talk and get along, and at tournaments and everything. And after the year that I had last year, I mean, she had came to my house for a few hours just to be with me and talk with me and everything, and also pioneer the way for girls my age. So it was really great start from the beginning.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So after you had first gotten into wrestling, of course, like everyone, you like dabble in it a little bit and you're like, the sport is too good for me to leave. So what was your first few years in high school like wrestling?
First few years of high school, the competition of girls had increased, 100% for me. I went from wrestling no girls, to having, I think, 3 other girls on my school team freshman year. And I was like, okay, but then I was also competing with girls, which I had never done before. And pretty much when I got to high school, they were like, you can wrestle girls, or you can wrestle boys, but there's not too many girls yet. But it was starting to come on the rise where I saw more people doing it, but still like a small amount. But for me, it was like astronomical. Like seeing 4 girls somewhere is crazy. So the first few years, it was hard to kind of, I got my first year out of the way. I got some basics down, but I had a lot to improve on and a lot of change and adapting to things, being with new coaches and things like that. It can always be just challenging, and I think that made it rocked me a little bit. In fact, my freshman and my sophomore year, I went 0-2 at regions, and my season was over. So I actually switched my score from from sophomore year to junior year. I was 4-14 sophomore year, and then I was 14-4. I think my junior year.
Wow.
Yeah, so it just had to hit that like clicking point, which I think we all feel somewhere in our wrestling like experience. We just have that one year where we're like, okay, like this, something's different. Like I really get it now. And it's always frustrating in the beginning, like freshman, sophomore year, it was hard, but it was like in a fun way,
Yeah. Was there anything like specifically that you changed that you think made that big of a difference? Or is it more just like you said, it just clicked and everything started to fall into place?
Right. I would say the biggest thing is just your mentality and your mental strength. I wasn't used to wrestling, and wrestling is just a different breed in every kind of way. Conditioning, you may run track, but you come into wrestling practice and you're gassed in, 3 minutes. So, So I would say a lot of those things, like the right ratio of making sure I'm working at practice and working hard and learning and being coachable and everything, but also leaving enough in the tank to be able to compete well. That was a big kind of challenge of finding the right balance of things. Also just having patience, not getting so frustrated where I'm distracted from what I'm doing, or I'm so upset I'm not being coachable, or I'm not being able to grasp, the new ideas or things.
Yeah.
So that was
everything starts to like fall into place for you, and everything
right.
clicking, and this is your thing, this is your sport, you're getting good at it, and then like bam, something crazy happens, right? And all of a sudden you don't know if wrestling gets to be a part of your life anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us what happened and how that all played out.
Yeah, so my junior year, I'm in practice, and I had like a small, like kind of shoulder thing at my arm, kind of went like a little limp, and then I just started panicking. I was like, oh my gosh, like my shoulder's blown out, my season's over, my career's over. I started to just crumble. I was panicking, like full blown crying, just losing it. And I was like, oh, I can't do an injury right now. Like this is my year. Like I'm gonna get up there. Like I'm gonna be something big this year. And then so I went over to TOA out in Murfreesboro. And they had checked my shoulder out and everything. I had gotten like x-rays, like a little box, right about here. And they had x-rayed my neck and everything to make sure that was all good, make sure I didn't have scoliosis from growing so quickly. Yeah. And they had checked all out, and they were like, hey, good news, your shoulder, it's, you're going to take 2-3 weeks off. And I was like, oh my gosh, like 2-3 weeks off, I can't do that. And then they were like, but we also noticed something in your scan we caught by accident. You have a sizable white circle in your brain that we found. Wow. And it was really hard for the doctor to get that out, because I doubt that the guy tells you if your bones are okay or not is used to telling people you have something in your brain.
Yeah.
And then it was a really crazy jump from that day to about a month later. I was on the table, having brain surgery. So it was a lot at one time. I had 6 MRIs in the span of that month. Talking to surgeons because I am so tall and everything, of like, does she go to like an adult because I'm the size of an adult, or do I go to children's because, I was 16 at the time. So it was a lot of crazy things. And it went from, am I going to be able to wrestle, of like, do I have cancer? Am I going to be living after this? And so it was a really big shock to my family and to me and everything. And it's one of those such big concepts and big things that happen to you. Sometimes you just don't even feel it at all, and you just kind of have to just keep going with the steps. But within that time, we actually had a cruise scheduled from 2020 that got canceled, which we made sure was the week before surgery. So my team was very supportive and everything of me. I had to shave the bottom half of my head prior to surgery because I didn't want them messing with my hair too much. I was like, you can't.
Like, I'll do it myself. I'll trust you with my brain, but not my hair.
I was like, no, you can't mess on my hair too much, because my hair was really long last year. It was like down to my waist pretty much. And I was like, no, like I've been working on this too hard and for too long for you to give me some weird cut. So I was like, the way that it had worked out, kind of like that bone that sticks out in the back of your head, right about in the middle. From there down, I was like, go ahead and sketch it out for me so I know where to get my hair cut up to, so y'all don't mess me up. But yeah, I got an undercut before surgery, so I was like, okay, like it's already, you see where to shave for surgery again, because it's like real fine to the skin. But a girl from my team, she went with me and she got the same haircut as me. She shaved half her head.
Oh wow!
And then 6 boys on the team fully shaved their heads, or they let me shave their heads. So it was immediate response from the wrestling community, like automatically, that I did not expect at all, and just ultimate, support and a lot of dark humor jokes, which was really my favorite part of it all. Being able to just laugh about it and get through it with the guys and everything, and the girls, it was great.
Wow, I can't imagine like getting news like that, especially like you said, like it seems like such a gift that you even tweaked your shoulder in the first place, right? Because if not, who knows like how long it would have been before they found something like that. But even so, receiving that news, like you were even talking about before, like one of the things that helped you like to take your wrestling to the new level is just having like mental toughness and being able to like be patient with yourself and your feelings. Like that kind of apply like whenever you receive like big life-changing news like this, like do you find how wrestling prepared you for that moment?
Absolutely. It sounds dramatic to some people who aren't in the wrestling community, but wrestling absolutely saved my life. I would not be where I am today without that. I mean, just the timing of, I got kind of hurt in wrestling, so then I had to go to the doctor, and the doctors, were saying things to me, just being very honest of like, if this incident hadn't happened in wrestling, you could have, very unfortunate timing mostly happens in these circumstances, because I had no signs that I had the tumor. It was very rapidly growing. It was underneath the skull, of course. But by the time I had surgery, it was like pressing against my skull. So what would most likely happen is I would have had like a seizure or something. It could have been at a very unfortunate timing while I was driving or things like that could have been deadly, just a very random shock and things that could have been fatal. So it was like that moment of like, wow, wrestling like saved my life. And you have so much of this like mental toughness drilled into your head from wrestling itself. It was like, okay, like I got this, like, you know, whatever happens, like it's like whatever happens in a match, you just got to be adaptable to it and just keep rolling with it. You know, not everything's going to go your way, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to win, you know?
Of course.
So that's just how I had to look at the whole situation. I was like, you know what, like I'm down right now. I'm down a couple points, but I gotta get my stand up. I gotta get my shot.
Man,
I love this girl's attitude towards life.
Madison, yeah, you're so inspiring.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I was like, you know what? I was like, this is not over for me yet. Like, you know, there are big things ahead of me. And originally it told me you're going to be out for a year, which would maybe put me back right about now for my senior year. And I was like, not going to happen. Nope.
I love it.
Not.
Yeah.
I love
And so
it.
when did you get back on the mat?
I got back on the mat 4 months after surgery.
Yeah. You got to hear this.
Yeah. And so originally, well, the first thing they told me was like, you should never wrestle again. They're like, you never need to touch a mat. Like, you know, it's going to be too dangerous. Like, you know, you can't do that. And I was like, well, it's possible. I'm like, let's arrange this a little bit. Like, what can I do? And they're like, okay, minimum a year. We'll give you a year. And then I had pretty much improved so quickly. I mean, I was in ICU for 2 days. I was at Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. Shout out to them. I was at Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. They took great care of me. I was in the ICU for 2 days and then regular, you know, hospitalization for another 2 days after that. And then I didn't want to be out of school. I didn't want to miss any schoolwork and have it affect my grades. So I was back at school 2 weeks to the day of surgery because I'd actually got removed from school. They were like, you're going to be gone for so long. We're going to like remove you from school. So I got re-enrolled in school very quickly after and was back to school 2 weeks later because I can't sit down for too long. I can't. Yeah, I had to ask him. I was like, can I please go back already? Like, I can't keep sitting here. And then when I had come back, I was at every wrestling tournament. I was at every practice. I was watching things. I was taking notes. I was videoing them. I was, you know, asking questions. Like I was on the mat with them and they just fed it into me. They're like, yeah, sure. And, you know, they were patient with me. And then the doctors said that I had absolutely zero side effects from surgery. Things like I could have woken up with memory loss, you know, different personality, crazy things like that were completely possible. That were insane to me. And I had woken up with absolutely zero of those things. And so they were like, you know, you're improving so quickly. Like, let's go ahead and get you back on the mat. I had to wear this really cool looking helmet sort of situation. But I was like, anything.
Right. Well, hey, whatever.
Yeah, it was funny looking, but it was like anything to be out there. And of course, everyone laughed with me and had fun in it. But I was serious about being out there and competing, no matter how silly I looked with my helmet on. I was like, you know, I'm out here to do what I came to do. And a lot of that mentality from wrestling was what got me through the whole surgery itself and the emotional side of it. Not to toot my own horn, but I handled it pretty well.
Oh,
I like
toot it. And it's so evident and clear.
Well, tell us all how your season ended, though.
My season ended. So I came back the week before region. So I went to one tournament and I'd wrestled pretty much the people I was going to see the next week. And one of them was, you know, region champ the prior year. She placed at state the year before, that sort of thing. And I had actually gotten her into wrestling, so it was kind of full circle. So it was pretty funny. I'd wrestle her and we had a very tough match and everything. And I wrestled with more heart than I'd ever wrestled with before because sitting out and just wanting to be out there and just happy to be alive at the end of the day, it makes you wrestle different. And, you know, I'm almost in a way thankful that all of this happened because I wouldn't be the wrestler I am right now without the hardships that I've faced. And so I went out there, I lost a couple of matches, you know, against really tough competitors, but went out to regions the next week and I ended up beating her and then being region champ that year. So that was like, I had showed up that day and I was like, you know what, I'm going to be region champ. Like, I'm going to win this whole tournament. And they were like, yeah, go for it. And I'm like, no, like, I'm going to do it. I was like, I'm going to, I'm serious. I mean it. Like, I'm going to do it. And they're like, okay. And the moment of when I had my last match to place first, it was just very emotional having my family there and my coaches. And I mean, I just come back pretty much a week before regions and, it seemed absolutely impossible to do that. And I really just owe it to the people around me for uplifting me so much, and also just a certain bit to myself just for doing it at the end of the day. So, but then went from that, and then we had state, and just went through state, just happy to be there. The same mentality of like, like leave it all on the mat. Like you never know when your last practice is. You never know when your last match is. You never know when it could be taken away from you. And just to have the opportunity to be out on the mat is absolutely something that I just can't express how grateful I am for. So when I was out there, I just kind of went through the day, and I went through things as I could. Lost some matches and whatnot, but I ended up placing, which I wasn't even, wrestling a couple weeks before. So no one knew that I was gonna place. And they're like, who is this girl? Like, where did she come from? I wasn't on any rankings or anything. I've, always gotten to regions and not done my best. So it was really surprising for a lot of people, like, wait, who is this girl and where's she coming from and whatnot. But
we got to wrap it up. Is that what that was?
Oh, he was just saying that they're kind of getting close out there. But yeah, so it really turned around.
You're at the match right now.
Yeah, I'm coming up.
I'm telling you right now, and some of my wrestlers, my young guns kids, they better be listening to this interview, because everything that you said in the last 10 minutes, I have preached and preached and preached. It's like some of these kids, they go to the doctor, and I'm not saying don't listen to doctors. That's not. At least I'm not gonna say that here, but I mean, a lot of them say, "Well, the doctor said I'm going to be out for 4 weeks." Well, I mean, this is the same doctor that diagnosed a 50-year-old man with that same injury, right? I mean, I would think as a 17-year-old kid, your healing process is going to be a lot faster. How about you start negotiating with them? Say, okay, well, I say, okay, you say 4 weeks, doc, but what do I have to do to get back on the mat in 2 weeks?
Right.
What do I got to do to get back on the mat in 1 week? It's all about it's attitude. And this is 100% like exactly what everybody in the sport of wrestling needs to mirror their attitude towards this, because she would not take no for an answer. Oh, well, I'm not going to wrestle this year. Okay, well, we'll see about that. And that's what happens. And she ends up 4 months later after brain surgery, placing the state tournament. It's incredible. I did my research, Madison. Did my research on this.
Good job. Well, Madison, you are like truly the perfect example of like not having any excuses, and like Hatch is saying, like whenever you have a dream and a goal and something in your mind, and you've decided that nothing will keep you from that. I mean, like you have proven to us and to the world that like you can truly do anything if you set your mind to it. And the only thing that holding you back is like you, and you didn't let anything, like you didn't let brain surgery hold you back. So none of us have any excuses.
Nobody excuse any of it. Any excuse now. I don't care what this is.
And I want to say, just to be clear, the test results of that tumor did come back as amazing as they could. It was a stage 1 astrocytoma, so it grows off the brain connectors in your brain. It can't spread to the rest of your body. There's about less than a 20% chance that it could come back, but it would stay in the brain. And I get monitored pretty routinely with MRIs to make sure it's not growing back. And it's been a year since October 12th that I've had surgery, and absolutely no sign of anything returning at all. So as lucky as I could get with that. It's amazing.
Yeah. What a gift. Like truly.
Make your own luck, I think, too.
Yeah. Absolutely. I agree.
Well, we gotta have this girl back on podcast.
This is my dad, by the way.
Thanks so much for the time. Here she is, beating brain cancer to get to place the state tournament, and also making time before she goes out and wrestles for our podcast.
Thank you so much.
Nothing against the rest of these guests. She might be my favorite so far.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
We have a favorite guest.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. You are truly an inspiration to all of us. And like the sport of wrestling is lucky to have you. And we hope that your story gets shared as often as possible. So thanks so much for joining us. Go kick butt.
Yes. Compete hard, Madison. We'll have you back on again.
Awesome. Thank you.
Right, bye.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, shoot. Whoops.
You kicked me out here.
Moved the wrong person. Dang, we need to have her back on. Shoot.
Oh,
I could listen to that story for another 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
I know. We could have filled up.
Barely even scratched the surface.
I agree. So. Yeah, I hate that I had to be rushed, and I agree. We probably should have her on here another time. Like even just to offer, like her story is obviously astronomical, but because of her story, like she has so much like wisdom and maturity. You can like you can tell by just her, like the way she speaks, like,
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
She's more mature than me. I'm 51 years old. You kidding me? Shoot.
No,
It's not really saying much. I just got done going to Mexico to get my teeth done. So, I mean, hey, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But boy,
I'm
what
so
a great,
happy we
what
could
a
be back
great
here.
guest. I mean, my goodness, man, that's impressive. So impressive. No, that was really cool. That was really cool. Yeah, we definitely got to have her back on and go from there. So yeah, great job with the girl side this week, Kenya. That was really good stuff.
Shout out to Mackenzie Fowler for connecting us. I mean, that is the story that I think should be told over and over again. I'm so glad we got to share it on our podcast. Absolutely.
Well, Mackenzie Fowler, man, that's a straight up savage there. She's awesome.
She is a savage.
She's freaking
savage.
Yeah, we're very, very lucky to have her in Tennessee wrestling. That's for sure.
Well,
cool. Well, let's get in here to the guys' side then and see what we had going on. We had a really big week last week. I mean, there's a lot going on. And just to get it kicked off here a little bit, Indian Classics out in Kingsport. Thompson, Alabama came up and won the tournament overall. But
oh wow.
There's a really competitive bracket with the Gumlick kid who was third last year at the state tournament from Lakeway. They had some Pennsylvania teams coming down. This was at 126. Actually, the team results were as followed: Thompson, Alabama, and then they had a team from Virginia, Stoughton River, Virginia was second, and then another Alabama team was third, and then Lakeway Christian, was fourth, and then North Lebanon from Pennsylvania came down and was fifth, and then the other Virginia team was sixth. Y Central and Dobbins Bennett, obviously up in your area as well, was seventh, and they got a good program there. So there's a lot going on there, but that 113 weight class was really, really stacked. I mean, we had I don't know if we had, maybe it was Sarah. Sorry about that. I'm getting the right one here. There it is. My bad. It's 126. Where Cole Gumlett from Lakeway ended up winning that. Beat the North Lebanon kid in the finals from Pennsylvania. But I mean, we have a really good kid out of my club, Kyle Nielsen. He ended up fifth. And that's and he was third last year at the state tournament in Tennessee. So, I mean, it was a very, very, very hotly contested 126 pound bracket. That was really the one that popped out there in that one. And then switching gears a little bit, but staying out in that part of the state, there was the very first tennis AAU. Shout out to our AAU program here in the state. I'm a USA Wrestling guy, state chairman, but listen, I love the AAU program. Mike Sutherland, who's the head of that, really good buddy of mine, and the AAU does just a tremendous job with our grassroots program. But they had the first Tennessee Top 100 tournament this week of the year in Pigeon Forge. Tennessee Top 100 for those the little guys, the K through 8-ish groups. If you're not familiar with that, they have 4 of them a year. Win all 4, you get a big belt. They've been doing this for years, and they have monster numbers of these. At Pigeon Forge, they had 678 participants. For the very first one. And I'm not going to I'm sorry, but I'm not going to comb through the brackets. I'm just not going to do it. But that in the nutshell is very, very impressive. We'll probably highlight those more as they come. We'll kind of take a look at like how the top 100 standings are. And if we have some people that are in line for the belt, that type of stuff, we'll kind of do that throughout the season. But great stuff there. Over at Cleveland, we had the Cleveland Duels. Cleveland Duels, always a very, very hotly contested dual meet tournament. A lot of really good teams there this year. Where Cleveland ended up coming away with the team title. They wrestled Summit, which is going to be a very competitive dual meet all the time. Summit here in Middle Tennessee. They wrestled in the championship. Cleveland defeated Summit 45-24, and it's really weird when because that would have the makings of like a epic dual meet if all the really experienced Summit kids were at the same weight as the really experienced Cleveland kids. Sure. They would have a monster amount of head-to-heads, but it's crazy because it's like, we're Summit's really good. Cleveland's a little bit more inexperienced than because you're talking about the Summit's experienced guys. 2 of them are D1 signees, and we had them on the podcast already with Landon and Jarvis. But then you got Cleveland on the other hand, has like the Fowlers, and Corderos and just all those. They're just loaded, at different weight classes. So I'm looking through it. It's a pretty quick duel because obviously they didn't, all the good kids didn't match up against each other. But Huntsville was third, and then Christian Brothers was fourth. The one big match that this is the second time in the last, I want to say 3 weeks that this match, the first one was in a preseason tournament over at Blackman. But Drew Workman, who's absolute hammer of a freshman. I think I highlighted this match in that Blackman preseason tournament, but he beat Cordero again from Tennessee, not Tennessee, but from Cleveland. Cordero was a couple-time Fargo All-American last summer, defending state champ. So those guys are going to battle it out, I'm sure, here in February again. And that Drew Workman, boy, he is a hammer, boy, up and coming freshman there for sure.
This is the third time that they've met each other?
Second time this year.
Okay.
Well, yeah. But the preseason one, obviously, it was, I think, 1-1 periods, and
sure.
So this was like a really, really true test, and Drew came out on top again. So shout out to him. I mean, he's going to make a huge imprint here on the high school scene this year for sure. McCallie Invite, who we have another guest coming up here a little bit later. But I can go through the results a little bit here. But McCallie, man, I mean, they're up and coming. They're a lot of additions to the teams here in this past year. Got a very, very, very young and talented squad. So really looking for big things out of them. But they ended up winning the tournament first time in a while too. So shout out to Coach Jake Yost. Man, doing a great job there. Matt Pitts, all those guys over there, just really great coaching staff there. But they had a Pennsylvania team too. Burrell High School from Pennsylvania came down. They were second. Brentwood was third. And then, of course, Signal Mountain on the strength of, you guessed it, the Yurichuk brothers. I think Ethan was the OW of the tournament. So never bet against those Yurichuks, right, Kenya, as we say on the podcast.
Hard to.
And so that's kind of what happened there. And then it's going to roll me that McCallie invite. So congratulations again, McCallie. And that'll roll me into our last tournament that I'm going to review real quick. And I'm going to bring on our guest right now on the scene. Well, let me get on here. And there he is, patiently waiting in the waiting room. Mr. Matt Hart, how we doing?
Hi, how we doing?
Good, from the Baylor School. Now, this is one of the few guests right here, Kenya, that I do not know. This is my first time I've met Matt.
Oh, both of
yes.
us.
So here we go.
So nice to meet you.
Hi, it's nice to meet you guys. Thank you so much for having me on.
You're a select company. I normally know everybody around here, but you know what?
Yeah,
it is. But now I'm really, really happy. Met a lot, had a lot of good stuff. Heard a lot of great things about you. So really excited to have you on the podcast. So thanks a lot for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
You got it. So basically the tournament that Baylor was at last weekend, and we actually had Baylor and Father Ryan representing Tennessee, was at the Ironman. And this would be arguably, and I wouldn't argue it, I would actually strongly push it as the toughest, because I used to recruit it when I was at Cal Poly and Chattanooga. This is the toughest in-season wrestling tournament in the country on the guys' side. I mean, it is absolutely loaded. I mean, it was, it's every year it gets tougher. Baylor as a team placed 27th, and Father Ryan placed 51st. And you might want to look at placing 27th in a tournament doesn't sound all that impressive, but there was over 150 teams at this tournament that were invited, and 27th place actually put Baylor in front of 7 Fab 5 teams according to the Mat Scout rankings. So so they placed above, like I said, 7 of the top 50 teams in the country, and some pretty prominent names. You're talking Sonoma, Ponderosa, Marist, Joliet Catholic, Brecksville, Ohio's got a great program, and Penobscot and St. Paris Graham, who's traditionally a very, very, very strong team in Ohio. I mean, it's so this tournament is an absolute hammer. We had a lot of we had some kids make the blood round, but Matt was our only Tennessee kid that placed, and he ended up 7th place, and which is a huge accomplishment, at a tournament of this caliber. Like I said, I've recruited this multiple times, and man, oh man, it is a tough tournament. So Matt, thank you very much for taking time out. Looks like you got a little shiner there. So must have been a tough one, huh?
Oh yeah.
Must have been a tough one for sure. I mean, when you walk away with shiners and stuff like that, you're in some wars.
Oh yeah. It's always fun when you come back to school and everyone's giving you the crazy looks.
I bet. Well, I mean, you had several close matches. Okay. You won 2 matches in the ultimate tiebreak. Yeah. Tell us about the path that you took, to make it at the podium of again, and I say hands down the toughest tournament in the country. What was the difference between in so many of those 1-point matches? Just kind of closing those out.
Yeah. So coming into the tournament, I was feeling good, ready to go. First match, Drew, pretty good, pretty tough kid. I'd wrestled with him before, so kind of a style matchup. And he knew me pretty well. Went into ultimate rideouts and ended up coming away with the win on that one. And then going into my second match, I was up by, I think, about 5 points and took a shot in at the same time as the other kid. And our faces collided and his teeth
collided.
Yeah, his teeth hit my face and cut it wide open. And man, I was gushing blood everywhere. And I mean, it was bad. I think the match ended up lasting about 29 minutes. I had to keep stopping like every 20 seconds with blood time and get my face wrapped up. And, so that was some adversity that I had to face throughout the tournament. That was my second match. I ended up wrestling 7 matches. So before every match, I just had to get my face wrapped up. And, the big thing with me in these matches were staying focused and trusting in myself. My coaches at Baylor, Coach Kendall, Coach Bakewell, and Coach Holland, man, every day they push us hard. I mean, they want what's best for all the guys. They love us like we're their sons. And, they do everything they can to push us and make us believe in what we're doing in the room. And, with all the level of guys I have training and pushing me, in those close type matches, I just kept thinking to myself, what we do in the room is not as hard as this. And this is 6, 7, 10 minutes of wrestling. You got to do what it takes to get the win. And that was really my biggest focus throughout the matches. And, just keep scoring points, even when, there's adversity and you're not getting to your offense as much as you want. You just got to stay calm and composed and, keep the foot on the pedal.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I love
Awesome
it.
mindset.
Yeah, I love it. Now you're committed to IU.
Yes, sir.
The Kelly School of Businesses, huh? It's Kelly School of Business.
Yes, sir.
Smart.
I try to be.
Yeah, not only wrestle, but man, you're pretty smart.
Yeah.
I love it. That's all right. Well, what's your goals respective to wrestling and like your academic career at IU? And why IU? When would you pick that spot? Mike Dixon?
Yeah. So Mike Dixon.
Only because of Mike Dixon. That was it, right?
Man, Mike Dixon. He's the man. He's hilarious.
He is the man. I love that dude.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So IU, my brother, he attends the Ross School of Business in Michigan. And so he's always been a big inspiration to me. He's a really smart kid, really athletic, fun kid to be around. And he pushes me to not only be the best person I can be, outside of wrestling and on the mat, but also to, hit the books hard and focus on what's important. Because someday, our wrestling careers will be over, and you got to be able to do things outside of wrestling as well. So, IU, when I got there and on my visit, I met the team and the guys, and it just felt like the right place for me. It felt like home. And obviously they've got an amazing business program there. And it just fit what I wanted and what I was looking for in my college experience. And I'm really excited to get to Bloomington, get on campus and keep pursuing my wrestling career and getting it done in the classroom as well.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good stuff. That's great stuff. Now, what's your goals there when you get there?
Absolutely. The goal is obviously to be an NCAA champion. That's what I've worked for my whole life. This year, trying to get it done at national preps and, at Tennessee State Championships. But, the big goal and the long goal is to be an NCAA All-American and, hopefully get to the top of the podium there one day.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Now, how would you describe your wrestling style, Matt?
Yeah.
For those that haven't seen you wrestle yet.
Absolutely. I'd like to say I like to attack a lot, use my fakes, speed and power, and I'm always coming at you, and that's how I roll.
Yeah, that's how we can tell by that shiner underneath
Yeah,
you.
I was about to say, I could tell
Oh,
that.
yeah.
You can't get shiners like that if you ain't coming after somebody. If you standing around, man, your chances of shiners aren't good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I won't lie. You said you come at them with a lot of fakes, and at first I actually heard face, and I was like, that makes sense. And as you continue to speak, I was like, wait, he said fakes, but you know, same thing.
Yeah.
Come at them with both your fakes and your face.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, who's your favorite wrestler? Who you kind of influence yourself after?
Probably I'd have to say Roman Bravo Young.
Oh,
Man,
okay.
he's such an incredible wrestler. That guy is just methodical, and
yeah,
he's probably the calmest wrestler I've ever seen out on the mat. You know, he never looks like he gets phased when. I mean, I've seen him in some really tough matches, and you know, you think he's gonna lose, but he always seems to pull through. So yeah, RBY is probably one of my favorite wrestlers, and someone that I really like to try to base my style off of.
Love it. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, and he's I describe him as very innovative as well.
Absolutely.
It just, you know, because obviously I'm in the sport for a long time, so I'm a very, very, very basic. I'm a basic wrestler. I'm a basic wrestling coach. I the basics. You know, I stress those over and over and over again. But the just the new concepts and the new techniques and the stuff that people are putting together these days are really, really super impressive. So it's great to have people like that in the sport for sure.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. Yeah, but last question here for you. So Baylor, I mean, you guys wrestle just a pretty rigorous schedule. Let's just say that to say the least. What's the plans ahead? What's moving forward here this year? You mentioned a little bit about preps and state tournament and all that stuff. Just kind of moving forward here throughout the rest of the season. What's the plans moving forward? What do you guys got?
So this weekend, I'm still kind of recovering from last weekend, a little banged up, but we're planning on heading to Kansas City Stampede. I should be good, squared away to be competing there. And then I think we've got a week or two off after the Stampede, and then we'll be competing at Prep Slam. And then we've got some duels in Richmond, Virginia with Blair. I think Valiant Prep, St. Christopher's, and there's one other school. So we're going to definitely get some really tough matches there, and hopefully some top 10 ranked opponents, and try to make some noise in those competitions. And then it's mostly in season stuff. After that, duels, and then we got the dual state competition, and then we're just going to get ready for Tennessee State Championships and following that national prep tournament.
Damn, you guys ain't playing around.
No, sir.
I forgot about that dual tournament up there with Blair and Valiant Prep. The Valiant Prep, for those of you guys who don't know, that's a prep school out of Phoenix area, coached by Eric Larkin. He's got some hammers, and of course Blair Academy is Blair Academy. It is what it is there, but that's awesome. That's awesome to see Tennessee teams going outside and doing that, and really testing themselves throughout the year. And that Kansas City tournament's no joke, and that Prep Slam is no joke. So you guys got a heck of a schedule coming up, to say the least. So,
absolutely, we love it. We're getting ready, and we're training hard.
Love it. Good deal. Ken, you got anything else for this young man?
Oh no, it's such a joy to have you on. Thanks for sharing with us. And you know, you reminded me, because you guys have the same school. Mike, did you know that at the Ironman they had like their inaugural woman of the Ironman tournament as well?
Yeah.
And so one of your teammates on the girl side, Riley Sturgill, actually she placed at the tournament as well. She took 6th place at the first time. So that's cool that both from you guys are from the same school, like our 2 highest placing in the tournament, male and female. So you guys definitely have something awesome going on over there. It's cool to hear from you about it.
Absolutely.
There you go, Matt. You teed it up for Kenya's results on the girls' side there for the Ironman. We can't have Riley Sturgill. She already been on.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I mean, if we had Riley on every time she did something good, I mean,
it would be
I'd have to have another co-host, and I'm not sorry, Riley. You're not that level yet. Love you. You're not that level. Kenya's my co-host. I'm not ready to step aside yet. Till later.
You'll trick me in sooner or later.
That's it right there. But no, that's awesome. Now we got great things going on at Baylor, man. We're really proud of what you guys got going on here, representing our state. And Matt, it's been phenomenal talking to you, and looking forward to catching you here in person one of these days.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course, buddy.
Awesome.
Of course. Appreciate you. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
Yeah, the great kid there. Great kid. Yeah, it was
Great.
awesome having him on. Yeah, tell you
Yeah.
what.
They definitely have something special going on over. I mean, they have for a
They
long
do.
time doing this, but it's always cool whenever we can have.
Yeah, I love them putting that Iron Woman part of it on there. And that,
Yeah, I didn't know that they were doing that this year ahead of time until I had seen the result and that Riley had placed. But I think they're calling it the Woman of the Ironman Tournament.
Ah, I like it.
Because I guess maybe Iron Woman is kind of weird. I don't really know.
Yeah,
but,
I like it. I tell you what, they're. Yeah, I mean, I know Baylor's putting some effort into the girls' side too, as well. Of course. So, good stuff. Love it. It's awesome. Good stuff. But we're gonna get back to that McCallie tournament because that's where our next guest is coming on. We're going from a senior going to IU, and now we're gonna kind of switch gears here a little bit.
Yeah, hard turn.
There he is, right there. This guy got a shiner, and he's not as old as our last guest. This is an 8th grader, Kenya. 8th grader, Dylan Villers.
Oh my goodness!
Talking about that's what we got here.
Yes,
you betcha. Dylan, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
I'm good, man. This is my co-host Kenya Sloan.
Hi, Dylan. Nice to meet you.
Fellow national champ. I got 2 national champs here on the podcast. Dylan was a national freestyle champion last
awesome. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
At the 14U level last year. So we haven't had a whole lot of freestyle national champions. So he's kids national champ last year, and just an absolute stud. Comes from a great family. I know his dad really well, and we're pretty pumped to have him on here.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, man? You good?
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm good, man. You do look a little older every time I see you, though.
I didn't believe you when you said he was in 8th grade.
I'm telling you, you get wait you watch him wrestle sometime, Kenya. This kid ain't no joke. I'm telling you what, 8th grader or not. But here's the reason we had that we bring in Dylan on here. So last weekend, again, I recapped the McCallie tournament, very competitive tournament last weekend. I mean, it always is. The McCallie Invitational always has some really, really, really strong wrestlers in there. It has some Pennsylvania teams and stuff like that in there this year.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. That's good stuff. But Dylan, as an 8th grader, not only went down and just performed well, but he ended up winning the tournament as an 8th grader. And it's not like he's winning the 8th grade like 106 bracket. I mean, this comes in and does it at the bigger weight classes. So he was 126, right? Is that Dylan?
Yes, sir.
126-pound champ. So I mean, you start getting into those 126, those 120s, 126s, the 130s and stuff like. Now you start having a lot of older kids, coming through, and yeah, I mean, as an 8th grader coming through there and coming out on top, it's pretty impressive. What was kind of strange, and I'll let Dylan walk us through the tournament. Actually, I'll let you go ahead and walk me through the tournament. We'll talk about the last match at the end. So, kind of, what was your I guess what was your preparation going to this? This was really probably the first really competitive tournament that you've had this year, right? From a high school perspective.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So kind of started off the week, getting my weight down, cutting quite a bit to get down to 126. But made a pretty good cut. Kind of held off the week before, kind of make a good weight cut. Mm-hmm. Got weighed in. 2-day weigh-ins. It's a big difference between middle school. You're weighing in the day before and then going and wrestling the next day. Other than weighing in the hour before and then going to wrestle. So, but my first match, the Georgia rules, how they did the Georgia rules this year, how Georgia teams couldn't wrestle 8th graders. So my first match, some Georgia teams were wrestling 8th graders, some weren't. And my first match, the kid forfeited. He was from Georgia. Wow. And then second match, he was from Georgia. He wrestled. He was actually a finalist last year. He wrestled teammate Axel Ritchie in the finals last year.
Wow.
And yeah, he keeping my weight down and stuff. It was, I got there, I pushed the pace and put it on him pretty fast. And it kind of came back and bit me that match because I hadn't been used to wrestling that low, and I got gassed pretty fast, but I won that match, I think 7-0, and had the quarters that night. Went down 2-0 pretty fast in that match. You kind of got caught kind of flat-footed and ended up coming back and didn't get scored on again, won 8-2. Then went back, checked my weight, got my weight off, that kind of the weight I needed to get off that night. And I was in the semis, and we ran into the same problem I had my first match, where Georgia kid and didn't want to wrestle, didn't want to risk what they were kind of saying would happen if they wrestled 8th graders. And I had to forfeit my semis match too. So I had to forfeit into the finals. And then, like you said, my finals match, it was kind of weird because he forfeited, but we still had a match.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then
how'd that all pan out then? So basically, he's talking about these forfeits, Kenya, and I started jumping in, Dylan. But so basically, from what I understand, that there's a rep from the Georgia High School Athletic Association that came to the tournament and basically said, "Listen, these are anybody that wrestles 8th graders here is going to get punished." And is that kind of what happened?
Yeah, basically.
Was there like eligibility? That was
like eligibility. Yeah, which is that's like crazy. I've never heard that before, because McCallie, Baylor, everybody, they've always had 8th graders wrestle.
Yeah,
it's never been a problem.
Your last match, even though the kid had to forfeit the match, you guys like wrestled as like maybe exhibition or something, or how did that?
Yeah.
Okay, how'd that all go down?
So basically, they went and we ran it down in 3 mats. Did first place in the middle, 3rd and 4th on 1 mat, 5th and 6th on another mat. And what we did, they just said it was a forfeit. Raised my hand, we shook hands and wrestled right there.
No way!
Wow.
Yeah.
How cool would that be, though?
Yeah.
Dylan stayed out on the mat. Okay, raise his hand first, and then okay, let's wrestle.
Yeah.
That's awesome, though. But then what happened? And then how'd the match go?
I went down 2-0 in that match too.
Mm-hmm.
Got a quick escape, and then it was basically all me from there. I kind of controlled everything, got in a few scrambles, and I think I was up 10-2, and then I was able to get the pin in the 3rd period.
Yeah, so ain't nobody questioning that championship.
Yeah, no.
I want to have Dylan on here if he didn't prove he was the man. That's just the way that works.
Yes, sir.
So now, when you guys did this exhibition match, let's call it an exhibition match, but I don't call it an exhibition match.
Finals match, all right.
Yeah, finals match. So now, how did this come about? Did like you and him were like, okay, let's wrestle, let's do it, or the coaches get together and figure it out?
Yeah, the coaches came together, and after they talked, our head coach, Coach Yost, he came and talked to me about it, and we just kind of went from there.
Yeah, I love it. That's the only way to do it. I mean, that's just, technicality, like, especially like I said, I haven't heard that. There's been 7th graders wrestle. As long as it's all under one roof. I mean, that they're like part of the high school team. That's one of the beauties of being in 7th, 8th grade, and being at the schools that are one roof. I mean, they can compete as a varsity athlete if they're under the same roof. So, wow, that's just really bizarre. Huh. Well, but you proved you're the man, though, right, Dylan?
Absolutely, yeah, you could have gotten your hand raised and walked away.
Got your hand raised twice. They raise your hand after the match too?
Yes, sir.
See, that might be the only time that's ever happened. I've never heard of that. Have you ever heard of that, Kenyon?
I mean, not forfeiting for that reason. I mean,
well, have you ever heard of getting your hand raised twice in a match? Once at the beginning and then once
no, I don't think so.
There you go. Dylan, you're a trendsetter, man.
Look at you. We're all going to start doing that. We're going to
trendsetter. You know what? From here on out, just before you wrestle the finals or before you wrestle any match, you just go out there and you just raise your hand.
People just so you guys know.
What's he doing? Then at the end, they raise it again because you could probably win. You win the majority of your matches anyway. They're going to start saying, "Hey, this dude's pretty confident." Hey.
That's funny. Yeah, I'd like to see it.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, good, man. Well, I tell you what. I mean, seriously. I mean, Dylan is, one of our, elite kids in our state.
Oh,
I mean,
it sounds like it.
Yeah, he's at all the national events. I mean, obviously, national champ this past summer. Wrestles for the Minion Training Center. He's at everything from a national level. How's all your off-season wrestling that you do? And like I said, again, being at everything that you do, how does that transition into what happens during the high school season?
This past summer, I spent some time in the weight room at McCallie, and in that room, kind of getting used to that, and then have practice lifts at McCallie in the mornings, and then practice after lifts. And then in the afternoons, we'd go to up to Minion and train there. And then some days we'd go to the barn up at Boom Ranch with Shane Chittum and all of them. And then we just kind of flop back and forth from those and just kind of had a little cycle we'd run through and to get ready for nationals and like Southeast and all those tournaments like that.
Yeah, for sure. Now, how about those tournaments that you go to? I know because he's consistent not only at all these individual tournaments, but he's on our dual tournaments and on our dual teams and stuff like that. How do those competitions, in the off season, how do they get you prepared for the competitions that you're doing now? Especially now, it's no longer, you're not really middle schooler now. You're like, kids, you're big boys. Does that help you transition to that?
Yes, I'd say so. Yes, sir. Going from freestyle to folk style, I'm more a freestyle guy than I am folk style. So I enjoy the off season with freestyle and Greco.
Right.
I like freestyle a lot. I like, I like leg laces a lot. So
yeah. I love it. Well, that's good though. I mean, like I said, because that's one of the big things with our organization, is that we provide, all these opportunities for kids like Dylan at those age groups. And now, now coming up, he'll be a 16U. Are you going to be 16U this year? Or are you going to be 14?
Yes, sir. I'll be 16U this year.
16U. So this 16Us and the juniors, providing with those opportunities in the off season, to really kind of help them prepare for the next season, because they're out wrestling the best kids in the country in the off season. It just helps them, especially when you're making that transition, which is, I guess you're almost seventh in your 8th grade season, but really your 7th grade into a high school season. Just getting them on that national level consistently, I think it's super important in preparation. So yeah, but so moving forward, I mean, McCallie, what's going on here? I mean, guys, first of all, you guys got a little resurgence going on there, McCallie.
Yes, sir.
You guys got a little pack of little young talent there that's coming through.
Yes, sir.
McCallie was down for a little bit, but it ain't gonna be long. I'm just telling you right now, they got a stable full of hammers there. I'm telling you, like I said, Yost Pitts, that whole crew over there has done a fantastic job, and really looking forward to seeing what goes on over there, McCallie. But what's going forward here? What's happening coming up in this season, and what's it looking like for you?
I have this week off, and then next week we're going to the Knockout Classic up in Kissimmee, Florida.
Oh,
that tournament. Yeah. And then we got a week or 2 off for Christmas, and then we go to the Johnny Drennan tournament at Father Ryan, I think it is.
Yeah.
And then we have some duels, and then we'll get ready for state duels and region and state. And then after season, hopefully we'll get a big group of us and we'll go up to national preps.
Yeah. Yeah. I tell you what, those 2 tournaments right there with that knockout tournament and then that Johnny Drennan tournament up here in Father Ryan, really good one, very competitive one. So yeah, I can't wait to see how you guys compete in there and how you guys do. And yeah, that's awesome. Good deal.
So,
well, cool. Ken, you got anything else for this guy?
No, it's so nice to meet you, Dylan. I can't imagine what you're going to look like whenever you're actually in high school. You're going to look like
trust me, I ain't got much money, but if I'd had some that I'd just start throwing around, and if I were a betting man, which I mean I am every now and then, but I would. This ain't the last time we're talking to Dylan Villers.
Absolutely.
We'll have this guy in the podcast multiple times, and like you said, probably he'll be a junior in high school, have a full beard, and
I
don't know. Who knows?
We'll have to like clip back to this moment.
Yeah, we will. We'll have to share. We'll have to share like a good little window here about what Dylan when he's in 8th grade, and then we'll do Dylan maybe you never know. Maybe when he's a senior, he'll do his announcement on here. Maybe, right now, listen, we just eclipsed the 15 live viewers earlier.
Wow.
We're getting there. Moving on up.
Yeah.
Moving on up. Dylan's got some people in the comment that were watching in here, so maybe we have this dude on more often.
Dylan, you punched your ticket for your
our viewership here. Shoot, but yeah, maybe we'll have him. Podcast as a senior, announcing his or junior, whatever.
Well, we have to now, so that we can do the comparison. We already brought it up. So you punched your ticket. We'll see you in a few years, Dylan.
We just gotta take a little snapshot of him as an 8th grader. We'll get the future. Awesome, but Dylan, we appreciate you, buddy. It's really good seeing you, man. We're super proud of you, and just like I said, keep cranking away. I'm probably gonna watch that Drennan tournament up here, so I can't wait to
Yes, sir.
Be up there, bud. All right. Well, tell your family I said hello,
Yeah.
and I'm sure we will talk to you soon, my man.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Yep,
Thank you
thanks
for having me on.
buddy. All right, later.
Yeah.
Ah, man, he's a great kid, man. He's
Yeah.
I tell you what, man, he is freaking tough. Woo.
He looks super long and tall.
Yeah,
Is he?
well, he's not super tall, but he's getting taller. I don't know where he gets that from. His
His
dad's
arms
cool.
look so long. I'll have to watch him wrestle.
It is what it is. That kind of short, but no, Dylan's grown. He's telling you, he can wrestle. He's tough. He's a tough kid, really tough. So yeah, love it.
We had
Man.
3 really solid guests on here today.
Dude,
Today was a good day.
Yeah,
Everyone
yeah,
needs to watch
this
today's
one could have been an hour and a half, huh?
Yeah, we definitely could.
Dude, yeah. You see, Junior must not tune in. He don't comment no more because we didn't take his hour and a half suggestion.
Yeah. He's like, you're not staying for
That
2
means you know
hours?
what? I'm listen. I won't listen live anymore. But I know he's listening at some point in time. I'm not going to comment. I guarantee he's probably listening right now, but
He probably is.
he's just not commenting. So, but yeah, great guests. I mean, tell you what, that was awesome. I had a great time chopping up with those guys and gals and guys and gal.
There you go.
And now I got to make one more plug before we tune out here.
I have an extra plug too. You got to
You
plug
do?
it. Yeah.
Here, go get it.
Okay. Well,
Ladies
we
first.
might have a similar. I feel like I know what your plug is, but another plug is, I mean, there's been, if you guys have like watched the news or kept up at all, like there was some crazy weather and tornadoes in our state. And there was a lot of our wrestling community in like Middle Tennessee was like largely affected by some of that. I know there's some like families, I think in Clarksville, that I've already heard about, like some wrestlers and their families who, I mean, have literally lost everything and their homes were lost. And I think it's just a great opportunity as like a wrestling community to try and come alongside some of these people. We don't have a super like direct and easy way for anyone to help, but if this is something that's just like touching your heart and you're like, yeah, I'd love to help a wrestling family in need, then like comment here, reach out to my or my personal social media or in our USA Wrestling social media, and we will connect you with the right people to be able to contribute and help and, you know, help connect you with whatever you have to offer. So I just wanted to make sure that if people wanted to help, they had that connection and they can go through us and we'll get you in the right place.
Love that. Yeah. No, that's great stuff. Obviously I wasn't here, you know, I texted
Hatch was in Mexico.
like, hey, you know, you guys all right? Everybody okay? So everybody was okay. And it's just, man, yeah, it hit some areas up there pretty tough. I mean, really.
Yeah,
hard.
I mean, some people were completely unaffected, and some people literally lost everything. And I mean, I can't even imagine what that would be like. So, as a wrestling community, kind of like what Madison was saying earlier, like we are really good at coming alongside people. This really is like a family, even if you're strangers, but you're like in our, you know, you're a wrestler, then it's like in some kind of way we're connected. So, yeah, we'll just try and help out our distant wrestling family however we can. So if that's something you want to do, then just connect with us.
Love it. Yeah.
All right. That's my plug.
Great. No, I love it. Great stuff. Plug for the national duels, national collegiate duels coming up next. It's it. Here we go.
Yep.
We are, let me see. What is it? Wednesday? It's Tuesday. Okay. So a week from today,
a week from
second
today?
day of the duels.
Yes.
A week from yesterday is the first day.
Good math.
Good math. You know, mama didn't raise no fool. But yeah, so Sunday night, there's a social for anybody that coming in on, well, whatever, any wrestling people. Downtown City Tap House. It should be a lot of fun, 7 to 9. And then on Monday, things start to get rolling. Yeah, it's gonna be good. I think the first day I think it's Little Rock, Lock Haven, possibly. No. Little Rock, Ohio, not Ohio, Iowa State, Cornell, and I can't remember. I shouldn't have went there.
I could tell you because I was looking at it.
You're looking at it right now. Okay, yeah, go. What you got? But
Come on. Wait a second.
3 teams. Little Rock, Cornell, and Ohio State, in Ohio State. That Cornell Ohio State match is gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
No, Cornell and Iowa State. My bad.
It'll be, day one.
Pitt.
Cornell and Pitt, Cornell and Little Rock, and then we've got Iowa.
And Iowa State. Yep. So there we go. Little Rock, Cornell, Iowa State, and Pitt. On first day. I tell you what, and Pitt is the team of the week. Pitt's the team of the week from last week.
Really?
LA, yeah.
That flows perfectly into our.
Little Rock has got, I think they had 5 in the top 30 My boy, shout out to my boy Javier Maldonado, and also my boy Neil, head coach there, Neil Arisman. So they got 5 guys in the top 30. When they started that program, I think it was 5 years ago. I mean, they got some hammer recruits coming in, and they're doing a fantastic job. Pitt, team of the week, who had a really super competitive match against Ohio State last week, which that Cole Matthews beat top-ranked Jesse Mendez, who was undefeated at that time. So they're probably going to have another rematch, which is going to be an incredible match. And then you got Iowa State coming in, who won the Vegas tournament. So it's like that first day just is shaping up really nice.
It's coming out fresh.
But then the second day is, I mean, I'm excited because the second day you got Ohio State, NC State, who NC State's ranked number 2 in the country right now, and Northern Iowa is the other one, and Lock Haven. Lock Haven's got some studs too.
Yeah,
they got some studs too. Yeah, the 25-pounder Noto will wrestle Camacho, which is going to be 2 of the top, 2, 3, 4, top 2, 3, 4 guys in that. It's just, there's going to be some serious. And then, UNI's got, I mean, they got the top ranked 84-pounder there right now. Kaizen. I mean, it's good. There's going to be some great wrestling. I mean, the marquee match, call it marquee match, whichever you want to call it, but NC State versus Ohio State. Come on, take my money.
Come on.
they did too. Frank Popolizio did. My Young Gun sponsored it, and also my apparel company sponsored it. So yes, he did take my money. That's okay. I'm proud to
take your money.
I'm proud to do so.
Yeah, I'm assuming you gave it to
Tennessee fans, wrestling fans. You need to get there. You just need to get there.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it.
I don't
want to hear what's going on.
Like
I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear it. Everybody.
You're the mother of every Tennessee wrestling.
Everybody always says, I mean, we need to bring Division I college wrestling. So we need to bring all these good teams coming. We need to get some people wrestling Tennessee.
It's happening.
Here we go.
It's happening.
Here it is. 8 of the top ones. I mean, that are solid and wrestling really well right now. Plus, on Tuesday, not sure what time yet. Kenny and I got to figure it out. But we'll do some sort of special podcast coming at you from the National Collegiate Duels. We will, I guarantee, have some special guests on there. We might have to piece it together. We're going to have to figure out this whole layout and what would be a good time. But we might have to piece some stuff together. We might do some live, some whatever. We'll figure it out. But it's going to be fun. We're going to, we'll make that happen.
It'll be fun.
Yes. Yeah. Kenya's coming in town. Tennessee.
Yes.
Bringing some wrestling friends with hers. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Hopefully you guys will not be at home watching our podcast live. Hopefully we will be seeing you. Please, everyone.
Yeah. Need to do that. So yes, there's our one last plug for the National Collegiate Duels. Come, and then I forgot the second day of the National Collegiate Duels. Those of you that with young children, it don't matter to me, high school kids, whatever. The University of Northern Iowa will be doing a clinic second day from 9 to 11.
Yeah,
it's $50 at $40 if you buy a ticket. Buy a ticket if you're a duels attendee, $40. I mean, Division I coaching staff doing the clinic can be anybody from Olympian Doug Schwab, the national champion Drew Foster, who's a volunteer coach.
Yeah, no, you don't get opportunities like that.
Come on.
Especially like in your home.
I mean, people, what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? So let's do it. Let's show the nation that Tennessee loves their wrestling.
There you go. We'll see you guys there. All
right. And anything else for the good of the order?
No.
Hour and 15 minutes might be our sweet spot. Hour and a half too long. Hour, especially if we have 3 good guests. I mean, maybe hour and 15 minutes. Maybe we call it the hour and a quarter.
Hour and a quarter.
There we go. Power hour plus overtime.
There we go. Today's overtime.
There we go.
Next time is power hour. But
all right. Well, Kenya, thanks so much for your time as always. It was awesome. Yep.
Yeah, so fun. See you guys.
Thank you, everybody listening. And we appreciate you. Thanks so much. Good night, everyone.